Wait, have we not ran the intro again? Every time I get so confused. I never know what's happening.
Excuse me. Focus. We just talked about this. You know what it is? It's because you got Pearl Jam on the brain, Mister. I go to Seattle for concerts.
No, no, the timeout, timeout. You should talk. The woman who I just posted an amazing video dancing with Rick Springfield, hopping around like the Easter Bunny after. So yes, I did get back from some Pearl Jam concerts. That was not the reason why I went to Seattle. We'll talk more about that. So please stop making fun of me and get to that intro so we can get to the root of the matter, please.
Okay, Mister Pearl Jam. Okay,
Yeah, yeah,
PJ Junior.
yeah. There it is, my favorite introduction of all the shows that I watch or I'm a part of. It has more of a Nirvana vibe to it than Pearl Jam, to be honest, but I'm cool with it nonetheless. Syya, I'm so glad you're here. It's just me and you today. So, how are you doing, my friend?
I am doing
Uh
wonderful.
oh.
How are you doing? Like
I don't know. I'm
I'm
tired.
tired. May, you kicked my booty in May, my friend. Like legit, legit. We talked about a couple weeks ago about our trip, in Chicago, but like it's there's so much follow up that we've been doing that it's like taken on a life of its own. Like this whole with the appeal and just hail auctions and you just going gangbusters. It's been an incredible ride where I'm like, wait a second, like I still have my own business to do with Brilliant B Media, dude. So I feel like
No,
you're trying to
listen,
suck me into your vortex.
I am, and for good reason because you're amazing at what you do. But yeah, you asked how I am. Like you, I'm tired, right? But I'm still so energized. The month of May, as you kind of mentioned, was just a blur. So many just amazing things happened to me and to us, and for me and for us. And we thought today, what better opportunity to just slow down, update folks on all we're doing to, we believe better the world through our mission with Hail Hail Auctions, maybe a little bit about what I'm doing with the Walking Tall movement. Speaking of fangirling out, thank you for wearing that shirt, Sia. It's always appreciated. But yeah, you and I together have had a great month. It started basically with me going to Times Square and raising a bunch of money for Fabretto and then DC. And then before I knew it, like you were in Chicago, getting, kind of a backstage pass, if you will, to my life, getting to run around the city with me, meet some of our awesome partners, take in some cool events, get to dance with Rick Springfield. So, what has been your takeaway over the last month, just getting ran through the ringer by me and all it is I'm up to?
Yeah, no. Okay, so can I just tell you, first off, you know darned well, and as friends, we're huge music people, right? And the fact that you have a relationship, Billy Corgan of the Smashing Pumpkins. I have been a huge fan. I mean, since the '80s, man, like late '80s, like they're just the cat's meow as far as I'm concerned. And so the fact that I literally had a conversation and shook Billy Corgan's hand, like you don't understand. I suppressed all my fangirl energy for that meetup, and I was like trying to like play it cool. But I
I
know
warned you. I
oh
warned
no,
you.
he was no joke. I mean, he was absolutely no joke. Um, I could tell he's like a very reserved personality, which is fine because I date a very reserved personality person. But it was very hard for me to just not have that dumb, for lack of a better term, dumbass grin on my face of like, "Hi, hello."
You don't have a dumb, but listen, it's the truth, right? I'm very fortunate to have done some work and come into the sphere of some really cool people. He being one. Calling him a friend is probably a stretch, right? But we're in each other's spheres. We do have done some great work together. But he's all business, right? And I think that that's what's the beauty to see somebody as talented as him,
Yeah.
carry his talents out to not only put great art into the world via the Smashing Pumpkins, in all the cool things he's doing with the NWA, but he's locked in. He's focused. When he and I exchange a text now and again, of course, me being a fan and like wanting to hang out with a cool dude like him, I'm like, hey man, you want to have tea? And he's like, I'm working. And I'm like,
Yeah.
working? You're making music. How does that work? I love professional wrestling. You're just, so I get it. Right. And then, that was a great event at the red carpet. And then just a few days later, what we're here to talk about, maybe just as importantly, if not more, is our work together through Hail Hail Auctions. And you had, just a great, I was so privileged to have you join me with some of our partners, getting to meet Karen and those at the bridge, and then seeing me on stage at Cure Epilepsy later on. Like, I'm sure that was kind of a shock for you to kind of see me up there doing some crazy stuff. But thank you for joining me behind the scenes and helping set up that event too. I know the folks at Cure Epilepsy were so glad you were with us as well.
Well, thanks for not telling me the okay, peoples, I gotta tell you. So, I'm thinking Cure Epilepsy, it's a David Axelrod and his wife Susan's, like, they founded this huge, wonderful organization. I mean, it wasn't a cheap dinner gala. It was 600 and what, 25 per plate.
More,
So,
but
I
neither here
thinking
nor there.
yeah, look, it's a three-figure, like, ticket, right, to get in, but here's the thing, in my head, I'm like, "Oh, then it's" and they called it a night, of discovery, so I was like, "Okay, I wore a fracking gown." I did not realize, and I should have checked it because I asked you about the dress code, you're like, "Yeah, just dress, nice."
I was willing to dress like this. What do you mean?
It was business. So I'm dressed in this gown, and everyone's walking in their like suits and like, nicer dresses and stuff. It wasn't quite cocktail, but I am like way hella overdressed, dude.
No, you weren't. No, listen, you weren't. You were beautiful, of course, as always. And, everything happens for a reason. What we did not know is that you were going to get invited at some point to be a part of the entire event and hand some really expensive bottles of wine to some really lucky winners. So you were dressed as Vanna White, acting as such. So fate
We
had it.
played
You
it.
needed to be in that dress. So it worked out.
We played it off. They were very kind. They were very kind, but you did rob me. You robbed me though of the opportunity to be on stage with Miguel Cervantes,
I
the
know.
the second Hamilton on Broadway. Shout out Miguel. You guys, you're so much. He was so cool and so gracious. But for those that weren't aware, Chris shared the stage with Miguel Cervantes in order to help, get the crowd hyped up to get that auction like really going. I mean, you guys raised what 1.9 million total for that set, like
Yeah. Again, and,
all.
and
Yeah,
nothing that I do that we do with Hail Hail Auctions is done alone, right? And we are always, always excited to share the stage with anybody, particularly somebody as notable as Miguel or Rick Springfield or whomever for that matter. And it's all about raising money, right? And that's
yeah.
all we're here to do is put our talents together, put our efforts forward to raise money for great causes. And yeah, it was $1.9 million we raised that night for Cure Epilepsy. We met the mark. I know there's still dollars trickling in due to some efforts of that night and some of the work everybody else is still doing. But I got to ask you, like, see, you've known me now for over a year. And, I've talked a big game and I've said this or that. This was the first time you got to see me on stage as an auctioneer and kind of lose myself in a moment and really put forth kind of who I like to be and what I like to do for others. So like I want to ask you, I never really got to talk to you about it. Like what were some of your impressions? Critique me, give me some of that constructive criticism and feedback.
Okay, so if you for those that are not familiar with fundraising and like auctioneering, like I didn't what you don't do is you don't do like the Texas version of it, which is and like where no one can understand a freaking word, but it does go fast. So it was interesting how I was so impressed because it was a huge ballroom that you could see that far to read some of the numbers and you still maintain the flow. And even if you couldn't read it, you still were able to keep talking through it while you're trying to read the numbers. So that was really impressive to me. And on top of that, keeping track of the numbers and also feeling the pulse of the crowd. So, am I allowed to like throw out an example of what we were talking about? Like,
Yeah, just don't use names. You could use numbers and how it went
yeah,
about. Yeah, sure, please no names.
yeah, no, 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 no. What I thought was fascinating was the fact that in order for you to test the crowd, I think you guys call it fishing. Like you threw out a pretty darn high fishing number, right? And I thought it was interesting because for me as a salesperson, you always want to go high to negotiate down. And I thought it was interesting that the number that you went with to start, you halved it and you got a bite, if you will. right? Which I don't think they normally would have had because I think they wanted you to start at that number, which usually there's that first bid where no one's like, "Oh, wait, this guy
Yeah.
means business. He ain't messing around."
Yeah.
To someone wants to be the first. Someone wants to be that big high bidder. There always needs to be one in that room. So that's why I thought you did a great job of like taking that first number and then boom, you got that big one. And then after that, everyone under you you set the high bar, and now everyone that bids after was going to go for that next number, which was their target number, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And so basically, what Sia is describing, for those that don't know, is what we call an appeal or a paddle raise at any type of charity fundraiser. So essentially, what's happening is I'm on stage just enticing, encouraging, and hyping people to raise their paddle and donate a certain dollar amount without getting anything in return. And so, just to throw some crazy numbers out, and as an auctioneer, folks should know, to me, it's just a number. I could ask for 1 million and feel just as comfortable as would be asking for $1, because I know every cent of that donation is going to a good cause. So in this instance, working backstage and leading up to the event, the organization said, "Hey, we know we're going to potentially have a few comfortable donors in this space. Why don't we start there, right? And we'll use general numbers. Let's just say they know they're going to have a few $10,000 donors with potential in the room. So let's start at 10 and get the energy and excitement going." Well, I say, no, I'm
No.
not afraid to fail, right? I want to see who's willing to maybe give 50. And if somebody is not, that's okay. I don't stand on stage and feel uncomfortable and allow the crickets to chirp for too long. And I'll move on fast. And maybe somebody at 25 was like, "Well, I don't want this guy to fail." And now the charity's looking for money. Where are we at? And now you get somebody at 25, and when the organization was only expecting 10. And so that's part of the magic on stage, right? Is understanding the crowd, knowing who's in the room, learning the capacity of giving and the appetite for giving ahead of time, so that way I could do my job and maximize the efforts and the gifting for the organization we're there to support. So thank you for coming. And I know you got some video. Maybe we'll share at some point of me running around like a madman, not knowing what I say. And I mean that, like, literally at one point I had to stop myself. If you recall that night, Sia, I think we got a $25,000 paddle raise, and I said, "That's how we do it, baby," or something crazy like
Yeah, you
that.
did.
And
It was,
and I
by the way, it
said,
was 50. It was a
"Oh,
50,000. You
yeah," I
got the
said, "That's,
50, right?
we got a 50." And I said baby, and then I said, "Wait a minute, did I just say baby in front of all this crowd?" And there's like politicians and the Axelrod family, and listen, whatever it takes to raise a buck for a good cause, I'm willing to do. So thank you for coming. But it's not all about me, right? I want to just say, and people should know, our partnership, right,
Yeah.
is really bringing the fundraising game, if you will, to the next level, and taking our two talents and combining them with some of our other great colleagues is really moving the needle, and we're excited about that. But I know you wanted to say something, one more thing, before we talked about some of the other things we're up to.
Yeah, no, I really want to emphasize this. And by the way, Angela DeMarco, shout out to all these folks. Tammy, we got Paul, Raquel. Like, thank you so much, you guys. Deb, thanks for popping in here. We've been so busy that I haven't even been doing a good job promoting the appeal. And so the idea of the appeal, you guys, is it's like multiple terms, right? So it's all about fundraising. You're going to see a lot of shift, as everyone knows, walking tall. Tammy Fisher's helping out to get the 503C done. C3, I can never get that time.
R2D2, yeah, RC3PO, whatever it's called.
Yeah, whatever. But it's going to be
501C. See, if you're going to work in this space with me, you need to know
501C3.
501C3. Yes, we're
C3.
going to tattoo it on your inner finger.
My middle finger? Did you say that? We don't want to do
Inner,
that.
inner, 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 inner.
Could you imagine if I tattooed like my middle finger? Be like,
Keep going, please.
wait.
Yes.
So, anywho, no. So the idea around the appeal is this: here on LinkedIn, particularly, and on YouTube, right? A lot of folks don't understand the hard work it takes. It's these organizations who need money, and they rely on the charity of others to be able to fulfill, to help those that need help, right? I was so inspired by something like Cure Epilepsy, which is obviously a huge organization, to even some of the smaller ones where it's really homegrown. It's really, started, grassroots. So, shout out to the Bridge. That's Youth and Family Services in Palatine, Illinois. They do not have the budget of Cure Epilepsy, but at the same time, they have similar needs. Right. And
Exactly.
so the idea around Hail Hail auctions, and then you coming to me saying, "Sia, I need help," in general of just promoting you launching this business, but then it's just grown into something bigger. So what was this moment for you when you were like, no, no, see, not only do I need you to just promote me, but and the business, not you, Chris, but hail, but
I'm
now
nothing to
it's
promote, believe me. But yeah, listen, here's what I liken it to, and I know it makes you cringe, and I'm trying to find a different analogy, but I'm going to use mine at this point. I'm just one person. My whole life I've been on teams, whether it's baseball, whether it's in Parks and Rec. I don't like doing anything alone. I like seeing others succeed. Sometimes in spite of me. And I also like to see others succeed sometimes alongside me, right? And so it makes all the sense to partner with people you believe in, that you know have a good heart, that are aligned with what you want to do and who you are. So see, it was natural to consider you as a partner, and of course Raquel, and all the other great people that we've worked with. But in my time and the expertise I've gained in this space, nonprofit fundraising, if you will, particularly, is I understand that budgets are stretched thin, that there are only so many professionals within an organization that could be supported both from a salary and benefit perspective. And the list goes on, as you already alluded to, what some of these great organizations need. So why can't we combine our talents and become that supplement at times of need, whether it be an event, whether it be a campaign, whether it be selling a product? The list goes on, that we could augment collectively and bring in what I like to call, and you cringe so beautifully, is my charity Trojan horse. I want to go to every charity that we work with, and I want to bring a Trojan horse of goodies. Maybe we'll call it a charity treasure chest. How's that sound?
I like
Um,
that better.
yeah, the charity treasure chest. But hey, as working with a partner, if they need a sponsor or two for their upcoming event, I got a sponsor. Hey, if they need a donation or two of a service or product, I could find somebody for them. If they need, ticket sales, we can help promote that for them, right? We're also understanding in your expertise of social media, particularly in broadcasting of things like the podcasts, the power that media is having. And frankly and sadly, charities are being left behind because they can't afford it. And
Right.
simply, they don't have the professionals on staff, unless you're a large scale charity like Make a Wish or something like that, that can really do the good work to create awareness. And so, what we want to do is just create great partnerships with great charities doing great work, use our talents and our passions to uplift them, and do so in an authentic way. And that's what we're doing. It's been a lot of fun. And see it to be, I mean, it's true. I wouldn't want to do it with anybody else.
Aw, I gotta tell you, your fire, your passion. In fact, I'm sure a lot of people have heard me say this before, but I say it to you daily, which is slow down to go faster, right? Slow
Yeah.
down to accelerate. And because you have that fire in the belly, you almost have like too much fire in the belly at times, which is fine, which is good, as long as we can focus it and channel it. What you do and your connections, your network of people in general, um, I could see such a huge opportunity for a lot of these nonprofits who maybe don't have those big budgets, who could say, you know what, I need help for this moment in time. Right. And so, what you're offering with Hail to say, look, not only can you get an auctioneer, I'm going to bring in my train to amplify.
Treasure chest, we just decided. Don't forget. Not the
Oh, your
charity
treasure
train.
chest.
The charity train sounds weird.
Ah, jeez. It's better than a Trojan horse, guy.
No, not it is. Okay, keep going, keep going, keep going.
But that being said, the treasure chest of potential, right? That is like limitless. So I mean, imagine if you could just like open up that chest and it's like a big bold light of whatever to fulfill whatever needs that there's gaps that these nonprofits have. I mean, heck, we can do it. I mean, look, social media is not rocket science. I think everybody that's typing in right now, and by the way, Paul, love your comments.
Listen, and that's
I
it. I
can't
want to.
share all of them because they're like way too long.
Can we
So I want
talk
to give
about that
Paul a
really
shout out.
quickly? Because I was
Yeah.
gonna focus on that for a second too, and
Okay.
that is something that I think what we're trying to accomplish is not only create great awareness for charity, right? But think about the power collectively we have on a platform like LinkedIn. Paul is sitting here to say, "Hey, I'm willing to donate time, resources, effort, energy to build our treasure chest," right? Now what that does for Paul, whatever industry he's in, right, whatever service he's providing, whatever business he's promoting, he's able to donate to a good cause the value of that said service or his time, right? He gets a tax write off. From there, he gets awareness created via a vehicle of change. He's
Yeah.
helping the world move forward and in turn getting something back in return. And listen, at the end of the day, not many people are understanding this. And so not only are we promoting great charities and doing things in social media, but we could be a broker of essence to help charities connect with great people who need to promote their services. I digress. Paul, I want to talk to you more about that and anybody else who's interested in this premise because it's an untapped market. And we're even through Hail Hail auctions discussing ways where we can decrease our costs and our overhead to the charity of choice and our partner while also ensuring that we're compensated properly and getting the credit we deserve for our efforts. So,
Because we're
Sia,
we're not charity either, peoples, but I
exactly.
get that.
Nobody, yeah.
But if we're able to basically offset the cost of using and leveraging Hell Hell auctions and the services and the packages around it with a successful fundraise, I mean, that's a win-win situation for everyone. So, Paul, by the way, Paul's part of, the Outlier Project. So
I know
so
Paul is
shout out
trying to promote everybody because you know what'll happen. Can you talk about me? Can you, Paul, I love you. I know what you're doing. You're amazing. I'll just say that.
well, shout out to Angela as well. Like, "Hey, girl, let's talk because I can always use the help."
Well, all
You
right. Sorry, Angela, you just jumped ahead of Paul because she's a diehard Pearl Jam fan, so she's going to always. But seriously, right? This is the efforts we want to make: is collaboration through change and combining good-hearted people and the skills and talents they could put forth to not only promote themselves, but more importantly, promote organizations that are they're doing good in the world. So we're on to something here, Sia, definitely. But you were talking about social media, and that's why I needed you. Like I said, I'm just a dumb guy with a bad experience and a
Stop
couple
with
good
that
ideas.
language. Stop with
I'm
that
not dumb,
language.
but it's a funny tagline.
No, it's
Nonetheless,
not.
I'm not
No,
good
it's
at
not.
social media. And so I need you. So talk a little bit about what you found the need is, what you're doing through the appeal and helping me promote this podcast. We've created some great shorts. And I want to say early on when we were testing this idea and working with Second City Canine Rescue, a great dog shelter in the Chicagoland area, we were putting out promotions for auction items. I was taking voiceovers promoting what we were doing that night. 230% of fair market value of all the items we brought to the table was raised that night.
Wow.
We're on to something, right? And we have to let people know what they're getting into before they get into it. People want to be aware of fundraisers and they want to be aware of what they're being asked now more so than anything. They don't want to be surprised. So let's promote events in a new way.
Yeah, 100%. Look, social media is not rocket science, okay? Everyone knows I need to post, right? Like you got to comment, you got to create something and put it out there, right? That's like 101 basic. The challenge around social media is knowing when to post, knowing what to post, knowing who you're talking to on each platform as you post, right? And it's engaging. So it's not just putting stuff out there and expecting people to come to you. This is not a situation of if you build it, they will come. Because unfortunately, good, bad, or ugly indifference, charity or the idea of giving either time, money, wisdom, experience, whatever, to donate doesn't always come at the forefront of our daily minds as a society. For some individuals, absolutely, but majority of the population, we're so wrapped in our own worlds of trying to keep our own darn charity, if you will, of ourselves in line. We just we just kind of forget at times. So that is where social media really does have the ability to reach out, humanize these great causes because it's not just saying cure epilepsy or the crossing or not crossing but like bridging you know you know services for youth and family. These are humans. This is Mary, this is Billy, right, that needed the help at the right time in their life, and now Mary and Billy are off in their career, which maybe they didn't have that opportunity in the past, right?
Yeah.
That awareness with cure epilepsy, which I didn't understand, where you know there are folks that have passed away from their seizures
Yeah.
that
Suda.
were sudden, and I had no idea that that was something that there was a Disney actor who was 20 years old who passed away from this sudden death from epilepsy. I forgot what it's
Yeah.
called.
Suda.
Sorry,
Suda.
SUDEP.
Suda. Yep.
Like I had no idea, but they're building awareness for it. And we're going to have a family or friend that's affected in some case to whatever the odds are high. If you're supporting a charitable organization, the odds are high everyone has been touched by that need in some capacity, whether it's
Yep.
mental health, whether it is physical, like if there's something health related, like physical health related, or if it's something, just being supportive of our veterans, for example, right?
Hmm.
We know people in every single segment. So the idea
But
of
you're
us trying
right.
to dehumanize it, I think, is really critical and key. And you're making it fun, dude. Like, shout out Pearl
Well,
Jam and Chris Hensley right there, right?
yeah,
Like,
like listen, Chris, I could go on and on. Chris is essentially the man who's introduced me to this industry, right? And I shout out to him, right? He just got named one of the top 50 auctioneers in the country by one of the more prominent organizations that manages fundraising events. And it doesn't surprise me. The guy's got a heart of gold. He's got such a big heart that he's literally handing partners over to us, right? Because he understands that there's only X amount of days in a year. He can't support them all. If he could, he would. But that doesn't mean that he and I are competitors. Like, we're friends, we're partners. Sia, you've had the opportunity to sit one on one with somebody as experienced as Chris and gain insight. And we hope to partner with him in many things we're doing because we just want to help, right? It's not about him or I or you, it's about us. And the last thing I want to say about social media and the forward thinking that Hail Hail Auctions and you and are bringing to the table is a great example in something like the appeal, right? We know, and as you said, charity is not something that is at the forefront of many of our minds. But where are people often on a daily, sometimes hourly, and sometimes minute basis? Social media. If
mhm.
we could start to access some of these people and give them wholesome content and create change, and fundraising efforts are made aware, and we could start to build followings for some of these great organizations earlier and finding supporters in their teens and early 20s, think about how much growth can be created. Nothing pains me, and there's nothing wrong with this, but as many events as I've been to and I've seen and I've conducted or executed myself, when you have an aging crowd, that's a concerning existence or a concerning thought for me, right? Because what's the longevity of that charity? Where's the support coming? How do we create awareness? All of these things, when you said, hey, we're bringing fun to the table and being our authentic selves and doing a podcast and promoting our personal lives and making ourselves human, but also professionals, is where it's at in today's day and age as far as business is concerned. And that's why there's no other way to do it in my mind. And yes, I do love Pearl Jam. My company, Hail Hail Auctions, was named after my favorite song. It's not going away. But I want to know who everybody else is. Like getting to know Karen Brook at the bridge. Like, she's a diehard Rick Springfield fan, right? Like, how amazing is that? The list goes on and on. And so, like Christina Morrison told us she was a lawyer, I think, or a paralegal. We don't, this is not the types of things you learn about partners unless you're invested, and that's who we are, and that's what we want to be.
So I kept touching my shoulder. Everyone, Rick Springfield touched me right here.
Yeah. Okay.
Full disclosure, he actually grabbed me and pulled me in. Just saying. Just saying. Okay. So, but wait. By the way, grabbed me in a approved, consented way. Just saying. He was
Oh
singing and
God.
dancing.
Yes, we
Anyway,
know you were hopping
so
around. Yes.
I
Continue.
was I was a bunny hopper. I mean, I should have worn my bunny ears, but I love what you're saying on this. An idea of Hail Hail Auctions and the appeal, why we're calling it the appeal, is to highlight and augment on platforms like LinkedIn, for example. This is where there's a lot of B2B consumer of content, right? So a lot of these folks are representing businesses, corporations, brands that might be looking to collaborate and partner. Why wouldn't it be easier for everyone if Hail Hail is a conduit to maybe help bridge that gap? Right. So it's
Exactly.
not just you being the auctioneer. And by the way, there is growth plans to have other fellow auctioneers like Chris, partnering with Chris. I mean, he's already busy enough as it is, but it doesn't mean that, a slew of other great auctioneers would be available for, other charities
Well, that's
looking.
and to be fair, Chris is the most talented guy I know on a stage when it comes to auctioning, right? But does he have the time to augment events and highlight all the work that's going into the event and creating the awareness on what he's going to be selling that night and how the paddle raises, what levels are supporting what, right? if you promote for 3 weeks that, a $10,000 paddle raise is going to do X, Y, and Z, people are going to think about that for X amount of time, and we can tug on their heartstrings and maybe get them to that point. That's our job as auctioneers and fundraisers. And now in today's day and age, it's being done differently, and we're just excited to be able to do that and keep up with the times.
Yeah, no, I'm so thrilled that we've had this conversation because again, I think you and I both had to slow down to hurry up because we've already had what now this is what the fifth, sixth episode of the appeal, and I don't think we did an introductory. What the hell is the appeal
What the
about?
hail is the
What
appeal?
wait, let me pull that back. What the hail is the appeal, right? So, um, I I do want to make sure everyone understands what the intention is we're here to support, augment, and accelerate organizations that are for a great cause. What is it? The word that Janice from Tausi Brands that she talks about is like it's conscious capitalism.
Yep.
It's
Yeah.
like and I love that word because it's like, you know what? If we have the finger on the pulse in this day and age, it's not just giving money for the sake of giving money and say, "Yay, it's a tax write-off." It's actually giving with a purpose and doing business with a purpose, and that's on point with branding. So if anyone that's curious,
Yeah.
um, look at your company and look at your marketing initiatives. If you have a donation component or that you would be supportive of a fundraise to augment a nonprofit or whatever mission that your company that reflects your company goals, I would highly encourage you to do it because if the millennials and now the Gen Zs are any indication, they are all about conscious capitalism. It just is the
Yeah,
way
Paul says
we should
conscious
be.
consumerism as well, right? But the truth of the matter is exactly that, right? And what I look forward to doing and what I've had success in already is partnering with businesses and having the conversation of, okay, what types of charities are you looking to support? Well, Chris, we're looking to support child-focused charities. Okay, well, I have these 3 or 4 partners. Well, how much money are you looking to support them at? Well, we have X amount of dollars. Well, great. Would you want to be a presenting sponsor for this event supporting this charity? Yes, Chris, you will. Now, I bring this charity a sponsor that not only is going to cover my fee, right, but is going to help offset some of the additional costs. The charity and the business never had to talk, but for me connecting them. And now they have partnerships created for life. I step back and the goodness happens. But I think gone are the days of having auctioneers, simply mine for business and have good businesses simply spend their time mining for charities to support, right? Let Hail Hail Auctions be that conduit. Let us be that broker. Let us be that support system. And let's have a hell of a lot of fun doing it is pretty much where I'm at. And like Sia said, whether it's a menu a la carte of me just getting on stage and being your auctioneer, or us, simply ramping up, if you will, the awareness and using our skills and content creation. Shout out to Jen Kaufman. She's on our team and she's doing great work on Instagram and TikTok, working some reels that we're just starting now to get out there. That'll help. But we've thought a lot about where we're at, and we're just excited now finally to be able to do something about it. It's been a long time coming.
It has been, and it's incredible. I have to shout out Chris Hensley. One more thing that he told me that I got educated on was the idea of fundraising can only happen on certain days too, right? That
Yep.
you'll get the most bang for your buck, if you will. So it's very limited, right? So it's like what, 52 weeks, 3 days out of the week. If you think about it, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, maybe a Sunday. Like it's not a lot of days for these organizations to raise money,
Yep.
and they're fighting each other. I mean, so I think Chris told me it's not unusual for him to go to like 2 in a day, just like to space it out.
Well, listen, that's like the epitome of like a double header, right? And I know Chris has one coming up, and I have an opportunity in September. We're partnering with Camp Kids or Kids Chicago. Shout out to Ari Stern, Banner Plumbing, Kitchen and Bath Supply is the presenting sponsor. That's an afternoon event, right? It's a child focused Darty, we're calling it. But yeah, it's very likely I'll be booked that night as well and serve 2 organizations in one night, and maybe through both events and efforts have raised maybe $250,000 combined for 2 charities. How awesome is that? But
Dude,
exactly that. Chris Hensley, and the reason why I've really taken my time and chosen strategic partners, he said it best, right? There's there's more charities than there are auctioneers. There's only so many days and so many people that support these days. And with his talents, my talents, your talents, Sia, we can, and most importantly, our hearts. Like our hearts are in the right place, and combined, we can change the world, frankly, and we could bring other great people into the mix by donations, by awareness, by sponsorship. So we want to be that charity treasure chest, and it's just an honor so far for those that have allowed us to do that.
Dude, I think you said it all. I think for those that
No, I
are
didn't. Time out.
no, oh my god. Okay, what else?
You didn't ask me about the Pearl Jam shows in Seattle and what I was doing there.
Well, because you made fun of me and yelled at me earlier on, young man. I'm
No,
kidding.
listen. All
Look,
right, real quick. Yes, Sia,
talk to me, Goose.
okay, you are wearing, my other passions logo, Walk the Walking Tall movement. Shout out to my two co-founders, Todd Blylev and Dr. Vanetta LaRosa. But yes, for those that don't know, I'm not only passionate about raising money for great charities. I've also been a co-founder of a mental health advocacy outfit. Our mission is to inspire the world to be more approachable, vulnerable, and to walk tall in their lives through mental health advocacy. That's in fact what I was doing in Seattle. See, it just so happened that I and Brady Hubler partnered in his company, Untamed Coffee Company. We did a week's worth of mental health workshops in his shop, working with first responders to promote, utilizing the resources and being vulnerable and approachable in all walks of life, particularly the first responder community. And it just so happened to be the last week of Mental Health Awareness Month, and Pearl Jam was playing two shows in their hometown. So it was like a Super Bowl of weekends for me. And yeah, I just was so great to be out there. But what I will say, and the last thing I want to leave folks with, is anything I do, there is a charitable component. So I didn't
Always.
just go out. I didn't go out there just to talk mental health to first responders or to see Pearl Jam melt my face with Brady and his wife Carrie and all the other Pearl Jam fans. We were raising money, right? So part of my, workshops and conversations and peer support groups that week. We raised money for Code for Northwest. They're a great organization in the Pacific Northwest Seattle area, provides anonymous call-in center for first responders and their families in crisis. And the good folks at Untamed Coffee Company made two different Walking Tall drinks. One was a Walking Tall Muddy Soda, which I had about 100 of them. I need to go on a walk and get some of that weight burnt. And then a latte. And we were raising money. And so anything I do, whether it's for Hail Hail or for Walking Tall, is going to be to promote good and put a few bucks in people's pockets that need it most. So I just can't say thank you enough for joining me on this ride.
No, I love it, and I just want to give a shout out to our previous guests, right? So it was Operation Yellow Ribbon,
Yeah, my guy
right?
Dave, Pearl Jam guy, of course.
And that's the other connection, right? Is the fact that, do you want to give the little PJ like a high level just recap of why Pearl Jam and Operation Yellow Ribbon are so important together?
Yeah, and listen, part of who I am, and I promote authenticity. I'm not going to shy away from my passions, and the music of Pearl Jam is one of them. And you meet great people, and so I got to know folks like Dave Silver out of New Jersey. He's working very intently to create great experiences for veterans. And a great band like Pearl Jam gave him a lot of money to make sure that charity kept going, right? And so just promoting goodness in the world, you're going to find that we're going to come across each other's worlds in somehow, shape, or form, whether it's Pearl Jam or a guy in New Jersey you never knew existed. And that's what I love about doing what I'm doing and traveling across the country for Hail Hail auctions or for Walking Tall. And Sia, you're supporting me along the way, and all those in the comments today. I just can't thank you enough. And if you have a great charity that you think I would be a great partner for, please refer them my way. I always give a kickback and a referral donation to a charity of somebody's choice if you refer us. And again, we're just trying to uplift others doing good in the world. And I guess that's about it.
Please like and subscribe.
Yeah, exactly. All of our partners, please like, subscribe, all of our channels. We're on YouTube, Facebook, I think. I don't think Facebook
Not
actually.
Facebook. No,
Um,
we actually booted the Facebook.
we,
Sorry.
we booted Facebook. But yeah, we're on all the things. Our YouTube channel is growing. There's going to be more shorts. There's going to be footage of me on stage and some backstage interactions with some of the great people and the great charities we're working with. So it's going to be an all backstage pass and the fundraising and who Sia and I are and all our great partners are. So please check us out.
Awesome. Well, I have nothing else to add other than, hey, Chris, anyone that just needs to hear it, like Chris is legit the most passionate person I know, which is frightening considering I've been called the Tasmanian devil of things. So if you are out Tasmanian deviling me, that is like, I don't understand. Like we're just a straight up like, that big hurricane that's on Jupiter.
Yeah,
Like we're gonna be that 1,000, 3,000 year, whatever how long that thing has been around for. Um, no, I want to say thank you for caring. Thank
yeah,
you for having so much passion and giving of yourself that it is reminding me in my own hustle to do whatever that I do at Brilliant Being Media, which is social media management engagement, to remember there's heart and soul in all this, that there's a grander and greater purpose. And so thank you for really kind of anchoring me down a little bit to remember, like, we can use our strengths for a greater good. So thank you.
yeah. No, listen, in America we have a capitalism, but I think that conscious capitalism that we can promote and advocate for and actually excel upon and be an example for others is what we're trying to do. So, thank you for that. I am passionate. I've had a bad experience, of course, and it's really led me to be where I'm at. And in many ways, I'm thankful for it. But passion for others is something that is really who I am. And certainly you are one of them, madame. So thank you for all you are and putting up with me. And let's kick that outro so we can go about our day, huh?
I am more than happy to do that. So let me go
All
ahead
right.
and
Hail, hail, everybody. Tune in 2 weeks. We're going to have another great charity to highlight. And shout out to everybody in those comments. Thank you for joining us. Share us, like us, subscribe us, donate with us. If you're confused about what we are or who we are, please reach out. I'm happy to have a conversation.
all right.
Adios.